Admiral Zexkar stood on the bridge of the Kraxan flagship Inevitable Victory, his scaled hands clasped behind his back as he watched the blue-green planet grow larger on the main display. Earth looked so peaceful, so unsuspecting, just like the 100 other worlds his fleet had conquered before. "Begin standard invasion protocol," he commanded, his voice carrying the confidence of countless successful campaigns. "Deploy the Fear Array." The massive ships of the Kraxan Armada shifted into their practice formation, their silver hulls catching the sun's light as they positioned themselves above Earth's major population centers. The sight had broken the will of countless civilizations before first contact was even initiated. Lieutenant Mirat's voice cut through the calculated silence. "Admiral, their military forces are responding." "Expected," Zexkar replied dismissively. "They all try to mount a defense." "No, sir. They're moving with coordination we've never seen from a pre-FTL species. Their formations, they're countering our positions precisely." The Admiral's inner eyelids flickered with interest. "Show me." The tactical display sprung to life, showing Earth's military units moving with impossible precision. Fighter squadrons were already at optimal intercept trajectories. Ground-based weapons had adjusted to track the Kraxan ship's shield vulnerabilities. Vulnerabilities that should have been impossible for them to know about. "Launch the intimidation broadcast," Zexkar ordered, his voice carrying a slight edge now. "Let's remind them who they're dealing with." Initiating broadcast, Mirat's voice cut off as every screen on the bridge suddenly went dark. When they reactivated, a simple message appeared: "Welcome to Earth. We've been expecting you." The Admiral's scales rippled with alarm. "Impossible. Their technology is centuries behind." "Sir, we're losing control of secondary systems," another officer reported, panic creeping into their usually stoic voice. "Our quantum communications network, it's being rewritten." Zexkar watched in disbelief as Earth's first real counterattack unfolded. Not with primitive nuclear weapons or futile energy beams, but with lines of code that sliced through their most advanced cybersecurity like it was made of gossamer. Somehow, these humans had not only anticipated their arrival, but had prepared specialized digital weapons designed specifically to target Kraxan systems. "How are they doing this?" Mirat whispered, watching as system after system reported interference. The answer came from an unexpected source, a transmission breaking through their compromised communications. The human on the screen wore what appeared to be casual clothing, sitting in what looked like a residential dwelling. "Hi there. Sorry about the system hiccups. We had to make sure we could talk safely," the human said with an unsettling smile. "You're probably wondering how we managed this. Well, let's just say we've had a lot of practice. Between our movies, books, games, and that one weird guy on the internet who claimed to have been abducted, we've been preparing for first contact for generations. You really should have checked our entertainment media before trying this." Zexkar's mind raced as implications cascaded. These humans hadn't just gotten lucky. They had spent centuries imagining this exact scenario. Every piece of science fiction, every game, every theoretical paper on alien contact had been unknowingly preparing them for this moment. Their primitive entertainment had been one giant war game, running countless invasion scenarios and developing countermeasures for them all. As if to prove the point, their ship's entertainment system suddenly activated, playing something called Independence Day. "Sir," Mirat reported, her voice barely a whisper, "the humans are broadcasting this transmission on all frequencies, including the ones we thought were secret. They're not just countering our invasion, they're showing everyone how they're doing it." Admiral Zexkar, veteran of 1,000 successful conquests, felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries: doubt. This was supposed to be a routine conquest of a pre-FTL civilization. Instead, they had just discovered that humanity's greatest defense wasn't their weapons or technology, it was their imagination. And now the real battle was about to begin. Commander Yitho watched from his command pod as the first wave of Titan walkers descended onto the streets of Singapore. The massive machines touched down with practiced precision, their crystalline armor gleaming in the morning sun. This was the moment when resistance typically crumbled. No civilization had ever withstood the psychological impact of seeing these 100-meter giants stride through their cities. All units, begin standard urban pacification, he ordered, satisfaction evident in his voice. The humans' digital tricks won't help them against pure mechanical might. The first walker took 3 steps forward and suddenly stopped. Then it started sinking. Status report, Ythel demanded, his scales flushing purple with alarm. Commander, the ground. It's not solid anymore, his sensor operator reported in confusion. Some kind of molecular disruption field. The entire street is breaking down at the atomic level. The walker disappeared up to its knees in what should have been solid pavement. As it struggled to free itself, tiny silver specks began climbing up its legs, some kind of primitive nanites, but moving with unexpected coordination. Impossible, Ythel muttered. Their technology level doesn't allow for. A burst of music interrupted his thoughts. Not the chaos of battle, but something else. Earth music. It was coming from the second walker's external speakers. Its massive head turned left and right in what looked distinctly like a dance motion. Sir, we're detecting a signal override, his communications officer reported. Origin, a local educational facility. Something called Singapore Polytechnic Robotics Club. Through his command screen, Ythel watched in disbelief as a group of human younglings, mere students, worked with casual efficiency at a bank of improvised computers. They weren't soldiers or warriors. Based on the images on their clothing, they were fans of something called K-pop. The humans are in all our systems, another officer reported. They're not just hacking them, they're improving them. Walker Unit 3 is reporting 40% better power efficiency after their last override. Across the city, more walkers were encountering similar problems. Some found themselves stuck in ingeniously concealed trap zones where the very streets transformed into technological quicksand. Others had their systems reprogrammed to play Earth entertainment, everything from classical music to something called Never Gonna Give You Up. Through his command feed, Ythel watched a particularly disturbing scene unfold. A group of human construction workers had somehow modified their equipment to emit fields that interfered with the walkers' targeting systems. Nearby, a team of what appeared to be game designers was predicting and countering walker movement patterns with unnerving accuracy. Sir, the humans, they're not fighting us conventionally, his tactical officer observed. Every hobby, every profession, every bit of knowledge they have, they're all turning it into a weapon. That group over there, they're urban planning students. They know every detail of their city's infrastructure, and they're using it against us. A transmission cut through their command channel. The face that appeared belonged to a young human female, wearing what appeared to be recreational attire with the words Robot Wars Champion 2024 displayed prominently. Hey there, she said cheerfully. Thanks for letting us play with your walkers. We made some improvements to their servo systems. They were really inefficient. Oh, and we taught them to dance. Hope you don't mind. As if on cue, 3 more walkers began moving in synchronized patterns to something called Gangnam Style. Commander Ythel, veteran of countless planetary subjugations, watched as his mighty war machines were transformed into entertainment devices by children who treated the whole invasion as some kind of exciting engineering challenge. Every human they encountered seemed to have some skill or knowledge that, while seemingly useless for warfare, proved devastatingly effective when applied creatively. Send the retreat signal, he ordered quietly. And somebody please turn off that music. But in the streets below, humans of all ages and backgrounds continued their work, turning their city itself into a weapon. Their secret weapon wasn't advanced technology or military might. It was the simple fact that every human, regardless of their occupation, was an innovator waiting for their moment to shine. Strategic Intelligence Officer Krentel stared at her simulation screens in frustration. For the 16th time in as many hours, the humans had completely defied the Kraxan battle computer's predictions. Her antennae twitched in agitation as she watched another carefully planned operation fall apart. The humans are moving their defenders to these 3 points, she reported, highlighting positions on the tactical display. But it makes no sense. Our analysis shows these positions are tactically inferior. Fleet Commander Vexmer leaned forward, his age scales reflecting the soft blue light of the command center. And yet they keep winning. How? Before Krentel could respond, a transmission cut through their encrypted channels. The human on the screen wore casual attire and appeared to be sitting in some kind of entertainment center, surrounded by glowing screens displaying various games. "Hey there, I'm guessing you're wondering why your tactical predictions keep failing," the human said cheerfully, adjusting his headset. "I'm Dragon Slayer 99X. Well, that's my gaming handle. But you can call me Mike. I'm a professional esports player." Krentel's translator stumbled over the unfamiliar term. "Esports player? Yeah, I play strategy games competitively. Your formations look really familiar. They're actually pretty similar to the meta strategies in Stellar Conquest IV. Great game, but a bit predictable once you learn the patterns." The tactical officer watched in disbelief as this human gamer proceeded to break down their entire military doctrine, pointing out patterns and weaknesses as if he was analyzing a recreational activity. "You see," Mike continued, "your AI thinks in terms of perfect efficiency, but sometimes the best move is the one that makes no sense. We call it thinking outside the box, though I guess you probably don't have that expression." On another screen, Krentel noticed a group of humans directing defense operations from what appeared to be a recreational facility. Their leader, a silver-haired human female, was moving pieces on what seemed to be a primitive tactical display made of black and white squares. "That's Grandmaster Chen," Mike explained, noticing their attention. "She's been playing chess for 60 years. Your ship movements reminded her of a classic Queen's Gambit. She's been counterplaying your fleet like it's a giant chess match." Commander Vexmore's scales rippled with disbelief. "You're using games to defeat a superior interstellar military force?" "Not just games," Mike grinned. "Sarah over there used to speedrun video games, finding the fastest way to beat them. She's been optimizing our defense response times. And that guy coordinating the aerial defense, he spent 10 years playing flight simulators. Turns out those skills are pretty transferable." The tactical display suddenly lit up with new human movements. Krentel ran them through the battle computer, which promptly crashed trying to calculate the probability of their success. "Your AI can't predict us because we're not trying to make the correct moves," Mike explained. "We're making the fun ones, the interesting ones, the ones that would make for a great story or an awesome gameplay clip." Commander Vexmore watched as human forces executed a series of maneuvers that somehow turned 3 apparent retreats into a devastating counterattack. "This defies all military logic," he muttered. "Exactly," Mike beamed. "That's what makes it work. By the way, we noticed your ships use a targeting pattern similar to an old arcade game called Space Invaders. We've had about 50 years to practice dodging those patterns. Maybe mix it up a little." As the transmission ended, Krentel realized a devastating truth. Every game, every simulation, every digital challenge humans had created for their entertainment had been unknowingly preparing them for this moment. Their recreation had become their strength. "Sir," she reported quietly, "I don't think our tactical computers can win this. The humans aren't playing to win. They're playing to create something interesting. And somehow, that makes them more dangerous than any logical opponent we've ever faced." Cultural Analysis Officer Renshi sat in her observation pod, surrounded by streams of Earth media her team had intercepted. Her assignment had seemed simple: study human entertainment to better understand their weaknesses. Instead, she found herself completely captivated. "Play that sequence again," she instructed her console. The melody filled her pod, something humans called classical music. Bach cello suite no. 1. The harmonics did something strange to her neural patterns, creating sensations she had no words to describe. A message flashed on her screen. Another Kraxan soldier requesting access to Earth's entertainment archives. The 7th today. She should report this growing interest in human culture as potential psychological contamination. Instead, she approved the request. "Officer Renshi," her console chimed. "Unusual activity detected in landing zone 12. The surveillance feed showed something unexpected. A small group of Kraxan ground troops had encountered a human street musician in Milan. Protocol demanded immediate neutralization of any civilian contact. Instead, they stood transfixed as the human played something called an acoustic guitar. One of the soldiers stepped forward, removing his helmet, a serious protocol violation. He spoke to the musician, gesturing at the instrument. To Renshi's astonishment, the human smiled and offered the guitar to the soldier. Zoom in on that interaction, she commanded. The Craxon soldier's scales showed patterns she had never seen before, a physical response to the music that mirrored human emotional displays. Similar reports began flooding in from around the globe. A Craxon patrol in Tokyo had spent 3 hours watching human children draw with something called sidewalk chalk, their tactical units forgotten beside them. In Mexico City, a squad leader had removed his entire armor after smelling something called street tacos. "Ma'am," her assistant's voice carried an unusual tremor. "You need to see this." The feed showed a small Italian restaurant in Rome. Inside, a Craxon field commander sat at a table with a human chef. They were sharing something called tiramisu. The commander's scales rippled with pleasure colors previously unknown in Craxon biology. "This is spreading faster than any human weapon," Renshi murmured. Earth culture was bypassing their most sophisticated psychological defenses. Their soldiers were experiencing something none of their training had prepared them for: joy. A transmission request blinked on her screen. The source: that same restaurant in Rome. "You have to try this," the field commander said without preamble, his scales still shimmering with pleasure patterns. We have nutrition paste and protein supplements, but this, they call it cooking. It's like science and art combined." The human chef appeared in the frame, beaming. "Your friends have such fascinating reactions to different flavors. Did you know their sensory organs can detect spice combinations we can't even perceive? We're already working on new recipes together." Renshi watched as her carefully organized cultural analysis turned into something else entirely. Across the globe, Craxon soldiers were experiencing human art, music, food, and entertainment not as weapons to be analyzed, but as gifts to be treasured. In a Sydney park, a Craxon technician was learning human painting. In London, a squad had discovered human literature and was now debating something called Shakespeare. A weapons specialist in Buenos Aires had started taking dance lessons. Officer Renshi, her console displayed a priority alert. High Command demands an explanation for the decrease in combat effectiveness. She looked at her screens, at all the small moments of discovery and joy playing out across the planet. Her scales shifted to a decision pattern as she began composing her response. "High Command," she wrote, "I regret to inform you that we have encountered a form of alien influence our defenses cannot counter. The humans have deployed their most powerful weapon against us, their ability to share happiness. We never stood a chance." Chief Science Officer Telcor stared at the data streaming across his laboratory screens aboard the Craxon research vessel, Eternal Knowledge. His antennae twitched rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation among his species. "Run the analysis again," he ordered his research team. "These results cannot be correct." "Sir," his assistant replied, "we've run it 12 times. The humans haven't just understood our technology, they've improved it. Their modifications to our quantum drive design have increased efficiency by 200%. Telcor moved to the observation window, watching Earth scientists at work in their makeshift laboratory below. They had converted an old warehouse into a research facility, and their methods defied every principle of proper scientific procedure he knew. "Look at them," he muttered. "They're using equipment cobbled together from entertainment devices and kitchen appliances. That woman is running complex quantum calculations on something called a gaming computer." A transmission request flashed on his screen. The face that appeared belonged to Dr. Sarah Chen, leader of the Earth science team. Behind her, researchers from dozens of countries worked in organized chaos. "Good morning, Chief Science Officer," she smiled. "We've made some interesting discoveries about your plasma containment systems. Did you know that ordinary Earth mineral water can enhance the magnetic bottle effect by 300%? Telcor's scales shifted to a shade of disbelief. "Impossible. Our engineers spent centuries perfecting those systems." "Yes, but you are all thinking like Craxon scientists," Dr. Chen replied. "We approached it differently. Oh, and you might want to see what our team in Mumbai discovered about your neural interfaces." The screen split to show another laboratory, where a young researcher was demonstrating how Earth's spice combinations could enhance Craxon neural connectivity. Something as simple as turmeric had doubled the processing speed of their bio-neural networks. "This defies all established scientific principles," Telcor protested weakly. That's exactly the point. A new voice chimed in. A teenager in Bangladesh appeared on screen, surrounded by modified alien technology. You're all stuck thinking inside the box. We're not. Hey, check this out. I figured out how to turn your personal shields into unlimited energy generators using old smartphone parts. Telcor watched in amazement as the young human demonstrated his invention. The mathematics were sound, even though they ignored half of what the Crackson considered fundamental laws of physics. Sir, his assistant interrupted, we're receiving similar reports from all over the planet. A team in Nigeria has revolutionized our quantum communication systems using principles from traditional drum communications. Scientists in Peru have enhanced our sensor arrays using technology adapted from ancient astronomical calendars. The screens filled with innovations. A group of elementary school students had redesigned Crackson armor using principles from origami. University professors had improved space drive efficiency by applying Earth music theory to engine harmonics. A chef in Thailand had discovered that local cooking techniques could enhance metal forge strength by 500%. The humans aren't just learning our technology, Telcor realized. They're combining it with everything they know, creating hybrid technologies we never imagined possible. Dr. Chen reappeared on the main screen. We've uploaded all our discoveries to open-source databases. Every scientist, engineer, and curious mind on Earth is now building upon each other's innovations. We call it crowdsourced development. Telcor's scales shifted to a pattern of wonder as he watched humanity's collective genius at work. They weren't treating advanced alien technology as something to be feared or worshipped. They were treating it like an exciting new toy to be tinkered with, improved, and shared. Perhaps, he said slowly, his scientific worldview transforming, it's time we learned how to think more like humans. The warehouse below erupted in cheers as another breakthrough was made. Hertz scientists once again proving that their greatest strength wasn't their technology, it was their endless ability to imagine new possibilities. Diplomatic liaison Martha sat across from her human counterpart in what they called a coffee shop in Geneva, trying to process the strange turn of events. 2 months ago, she had been preparing invasion protocols. Now, she was learning the intricacies of a human game called chess from a local grandmaster. Your strategic thinking is impressive, the grandmaster said, moving her bishop. But you're playing to avoid losses. Sometimes you need to sacrifice a piece to win the game. Martha's scales flickered with understanding. The same could be said about their entire invasion. The Crackson had been so focused on avoiding any losses that they had missed opportunities for something greater. Tell me more about this concept of friendly competition, she asked, studying the board. Around them, other humans and Crackson soldiers were engaged in their own games, chess, Go, and something called competitive puzzle solving. A commotion from outside drew their attention. A group of Crackson engineers had gathered around a street performer juggling flaming torches. Their scientific instruments were out, trying to analyze the physics of the performance, while their scales rippled with colors of pure delight. Your latest report, liaison? Her commander's voice came through her neural link. The humans continue to surprise us, Martha responded, watching a young Crackson soldier learning to juggle simple balls. They've turned even our assessment protocols into what they call team-building exercises. Her screen displayed updates from around the world. In Brazil, a soccer match between human and Crackson teams had drawn thousands of spectators. The Crackson players were still learning the rules, but their natural agility made them excellent goalkeepers. In Japan, a Crackson cultural expert was learning the art of haiku, discovering that their species' mathematical precision brought a unique perspective to the ancient poetry form. Meanwhile, human scientists were translating Crackson technical manuals into something they called manga, illustrated goddess that made complex concepts surprisingly accessible. Look at this, her human counterpart said, showing her a tablet. A video showed Crackson children, recently arrived from support ships, playing with human children in a park. They were teaching each other their respective versions of tag, creating a new hybrid game that utilized both species' natural abilities. We've received an interesting proposal, Martha reported to her commander. The humans suggest a joint space exploration initiative. They want to combine our FTL technology with their problem-solving approaches. Their technology is still centuries behind ours, her commander replied, but his tone carried more curiosity than dismissal. Yes, but their thinking isn't. A human child just solved a navigation problem that has puzzled our best minds for generations. Her approach was to treat it like something called a video game level. The chess grandmaster made another move. Checkmate in 3, she said kindly. But you're improving. You're starting to think beyond the standard responses. Martha studied the board, seeing now how the seemingly random moves from earlier had led to this moment. Like the humans themselves, their apparent chaos had an underlying brilliance to it. Perhaps, she said carefully to her commander, victory doesn't always look like what we expect. The humans have shown us possibilities we'd never considered. Their art, their games, their way of viewing the universe. It's all so different from ours. And that difference is precisely what makes it valuable. Outside the coffee shop, a Craxan scientist was excitedly explaining their star mapping technology to a group of human students. In return, they were showing him how Earth's ancient civilizations had tracked celestial bodies with stunning accuracy using only simple tools and careful observation. We came here looking for another conquest, Martha continued, watching the exchange. Instead, we found something far more precious, a species that can teach us how to see the universe through new eyes. The Grandmaster smiled, resetting the chessboard. Another game? This time, try playing to discover something new, not just to win. Martha's scales shifted to a pattern of joy, an emotion her species had only recently begun to express. Yes, she said, I believe I'm finally learning how to play. Senior Monitor Lixful stood before the High Council's emergency session, her scales shifting between anxiety and determination patterns. The massive chamber, usually filled with the subtle sounds of data streams, now hummed with unprecedented emotional colors rippling through the gathered Craxan leaders. Explain this crisis, Supreme Commander Zarkax demanded, his ancient scales dark with concern. How has Earth's influence spread so rapidly through our fleet? Lixvol activated the main display, showing scenes from across the invasion force. A Craxan battle cruiser's crew had converted their tactical chamber into what humans called a movie theater. Engineering teams were organizing what they termed innovation contests. Young officers were sharing Earth music through the neural networks. The situation is beyond containment, she reported. Our forces aren't just studying human culture. They're embracing it, creating it, adding to it. The display shifted to a remarkable scene. A Craxan pilot performing Earth music on a modified quantum resonator, while human musicians accompanied her with traditional instruments. The harmony they created was unlike anything in known space. This goes against every principle of our society, another council member protested. Our strength lies in unity in perfect order. Does it? Lixvol interrupted, surprising even herself with her boldness. Look at these efficiency reports. Ships with crews embracing human concepts are showing 40% better performance. Their problem-solving capabilities have increased exponentially. She displayed more evidence. Craxan artists creating hybrid art forms. Scientists whose exposure to human creativity had led to groundbreaking discoveries. Young cadets developing new tactical approaches based on human sports strategies. The humans called it their secret weapon, she continued. But it wasn't their technology or their military might. It was something we never expected, the power to inspire joy in discovery. The chamber erupted in concerned murmurs as she displayed messages from their other conquered worlds. The news from Earth had spread, carrying with it dangerous ideas about individual expression, creative freedom, and something humans call having fun. This cannot be allowed to continue, Supreme Commander Zarkax began, but his words were interrupted by an unexpected transmission cutting through their secure channels. The screen filled with images from 1,000 worlds, subject species inspired by Earth's example, beginning to share their own art, music, and ideas. The Craxan's perfect order was transforming into something new, a tapestry of diversity and creativity. Look at what we've been missing, Lixvol said softly. Every species we conquered had their own gifts, their own ways of seeing the universe. We thought our way was perfect, but we were seeing only a fraction of what was possible. She showed them scenes from Earth, Craxan children learning to play, warriors discovering the joy of dance, scientists learning to think in new ways. Their rigid hierarchy was evolving into something more flexible, more alive. The humans have a saying, she continued. The only constant is change. They don't see change as a threat to be controlled, but as an opportunity to grow. And now, our people are learning the same. You speak of the end of our empire, Supreme Commander Zarkax warned. I speak of its evolution, Lixvol corrected. The humans didn't defeat us. They showed us how to be more than we were. Their greatest weapon wasn't destruction, but transformation. The chamber filled with new colors as the council members' scales reflected emotions many had never expressed before. Hope, wonder, curiosity, the very qualities they had dismissed as weaknesses in other species were awakening within their own. We came to change their world, Lixvol concluded, her scales shimmering with newfound purpose. Instead, they changed ours, and they did it not through force or fear, but through something far more powerful. They showed us how to dream. The launch ceremony for humanity's first faster-than-light ship, the Star Bridge, brought together an audience unlike any in Earth's history. Humans and Craxon stood side by side at Kennedy Space Center, watching as the sunrise painted the ship's silver hull in shades of gold. Captain Sarah Chen, formerly of the Earth Science Division, adjusted her new uniform, a design that blended Earth and Craxon elements. Beside her, First Officer Kexty's scales shimmered with excitement colors that would have been unthinkable in a Craxon officer just months ago. Ready to make history? Sarah asked, watching their crew board the ship. The team comprised the best of both worlds, human creativity paired with Craxon precision, Earth intuition combined with alien technology. I believe humans have a saying, Kexter replied, his translator perfectly capturing the warmth in his voice. We already have. The ship itself told their story. Its hull bore Craxon quantum steel plates, but its internal layout had been completely redesigned by human engineers for comfort and intuitive use. The bridge combined holographic Craxon displays with Earth-style tactile controls. Even the ship's AI had been enhanced by human programmers, giving it what they called creative problem-solving capabilities. In the viewing stands, former Admiral Zexkar, now serving as the Craxon ambassador to Earth, sat alongside world leaders. His scales had permanently adopted the subtle pattern that indicated wonder, a pattern now common among Craxon who had embraced the changes Earth had brought to their society. The Star Bridge represents more than a technological achievement, the United Earth president addressed the crowd. It represents a new way forward. 6 months ago, we faced an invasion. Today, we launch a joint mission of exploration. The ship's systems hummed to life, its enhanced engines producing a harmony that reflected its hybrid nature. In orbit, vessels from both civilizations moved in synchronous patterns, their crews working together with practiced ease. Final systems check complete, Kexter reported, his movements flowing with a new grace learned from human martial artists. The quantum drive has been enhanced by that modification your young engineer suggested, the one based on dance choreography. Sarah smiled, remembering how a ballet dancer suggestion had solved the complex propulsion stability issue. Who would have thought that the secret to smooth faster-than-light travel would come from a performing arts student? The countdown began, but this was just the beginning. Across the galaxy, the changes that had started on Earth continued to spread. The former Craxon Empire had transformed into the Galactic Cooperative, where every species was encouraged to share their unique perspectives and abilities. Launch control, this is Star Bridge, Sarah broadcast. Request permission for humanity's first FTL flight. Star Bridge, you are cleared for launch. The response came in simultaneous human and Craxon languages. Make it amazing. As the ship rose through the atmosphere, Sarah thought about the strange path that had led them here. The Craxon had come seeking conquest, but found partnership instead. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and responded not with fear or hatred, but with creativity and understanding. Quantum drive engaging, Kexty announced. Course set for the Centauri system. Our first joint colony awaits. The stars stretched before them as the ship prepared to make its first jump. In the crew quarters below, human scientists discussed theoretical physics with Craxon engineers. In the recreation area, both species shared meals, stories, and games. Every part of the ship hummed with the energy of two civilizations learning and growing together. You know, Sarah said as the quantum drive spooled up. Your people once asked what made Earth special. I think we finally have the answer. Oh, Kexty's scales rippled with curiosity. We're not special because we're stronger or smarter, she replied, watching the stars blur. We're special because we never stop imagining what we could be. And now we taught the galaxy to imagine too. The star bridge leaped into faster-than-light travel, carrying with it the dreams of two species and the promise of a future that neither could have imagined alone. Above Earth, the combined fleet sparkled like stars themselves, a testament to the power of understanding, creativity, and the simple willingness to see the universe through new eyes.